Hello princesses! Today I'm going to be talking about the Etude House Double Lasting Cushion Foundation. I picked this cushion up in the shade Y03 Ivory because I was really hoping that it was going to be a very similar shade to the Etude House Double Lasting Serum Foundation, which is a really good formula and a really good colour for me. I have previously tried out the Double Lasting Foundation when it was first released and the colour range was spectacularly awful for me personally, being that I have fairly fair skin and that it is quite yellow in tone. The colours really didn't suit me, but I did enjoy the formula. I thought it was really good. So I decided to try out the Double Lasting Cushion because it came in the same colour, Y03 Ivory, which was the same as the other foundation, but it wasn't originally in the first ones. That made no sense. There's a new colour and now it's a cushion, so try it out. So the product description says, a cushion with excellent coverage, lasts for 24 hours. With buildable broad spectrum SPF 35, it protects skin from free radical damages while perfecting skin tone in a semi-matte finish. The collection comes with 8 colours for selection ranging from the cool lightest tone number 19 to warm tone 23. The packaging of this product is okay. I don't think it is the most beautiful packaging of all time, but it's also not incredibly ugly. It has a standard cushion case and it has a standard cushion puff. I do enjoy using the Etude House cushion puffs. I think that they do a really good job and it is my preferred method of applying the foundation. I have the shade Y03 Ivory, which is supposed to be natural skin with yellow base according to the website. So I'm going to be using the provided puff to apply the cushion because for me I feel like it is one of the best ways to apply this cushion. So if you haven't used a cushion product before, which I don't know, most people I think have, all you need to do is press this into it and then you just press it onto your skin like that. So if you're using the cushion puff, try not to drag it, but rather you're just dabbing and pressing into your skin, much like using a beauty blender, but it's flat and strapped to your hand, which for me is actually very convenient, and you don't have to dampen it because it doesn't really absorb the product. This cushion does have a drier formula, being that it is part of the Double Lasting range, so I find that having a really moisturized skin is definitely a must for me, otherwise it really does cling to the dry patches in my skin and that's not cute. So I usually try to finish my skincare routine with a moisturizing sunscreen rather than a drying or mattifying sunscreen instead. So that is what my skin looks like with half of my face done with the cushion. So this half has the cushion on it and this half does not. So you can definitely see a fair bit of redness and a couple of scars on this side of my face. Whereas on this side, most things are covered up pretty well. I can still see a tiny amount of scarring down here on my chin and of course the one on my upper lip, which is just insane and will not go away. But overall the tone is really good. The redness is covered really nicely, but it doesn't look too full coverage or makeup-y. Overall, I think that this cushion is really easy to apply, even if you are a beginner. It's much like any other cushion, but it's just got a slightly dry formula in comparison. But I don't find this problematic. I don't find that it makes the products underneath in my skincare bunch up and roll around. I haven't had any issues with the formula at all in terms of application. It also does feel a lot like the actual Double Lasting foundation did, except this time the colour is much nicer because I have it in Y03 Ivory. It does cover my birthmark up a little bit, but obviously nothing covers that entirely, so you can still see it. It just kind of, yeah, gives it a little bit of coverage. There really isn't that much point putting foundation on my birthmark because it's not going to go away. So, I usually don't bother. But because this is more of a full coverage foundation, I found that if I didn't include my birthmark, I sometimes left like a tiny little line between the two parts of the skin. So it was just easier for me to go all the way around the edge because I can feel the bone. And that way I get a nicer blended line because it is more full coverage. I could see where I stopped using the product. So this is my full face done with the foundation. It's actually looking a little bit pale at the moment. This is because I actually did get a little bit tan over the summer holidays. Of course in New Zealand it is summer at the moment, not winter, so my skin has darkened up a little bit, which is unfortunate, but I don't think it's far enough away that I should be worried about it. It is a really great tone as well, which is not surprising considering I really liked the Etude House Double Lasting Serum Foundation in the same colour. I'm really happy that they are very comparable colours. I don't feel like there is a huge difference in between the two. This of course is just a double lasting cushion, not a double lasting serum cushion, which I don't think they do. So this has got a very dry finish, and I actually don't feel like I need to set it with powder because it does set down really well. I don't feel like I can touch my skin and have the foundation come off of my fingers, which with the double lasting serum foundation, definitely the opposite is true. I have to set with that with a powder, otherwise it just turns into a mushy mess. I am going to put a little bit of powder just across my nose bridge here because I am going to be wearing my glasses today, so that's going to stop it from melting, but I still am going to get glasses marks because like I get red glasses marks when I'm not wearing foundation, so it wouldn't be anything different when I am wearing a foundation. So I'll check back in with you guys later when I've got a full face on and the foundation has been sitting on my skin for a while. So this is what the foundation looks like when I have a full face on. I have noticed though, as I was sitting closer to the window which is brighter, I can really see a lot of dry skin in between my eyebrows. I don't know why, I've got a bunch of dry skin there, but it's not super pretty. It's not incredibly noticeable from a distance, so from how you can see me here, you probably cannot see the skin, but if you would like to get close to me, you would be able to see the texture, which I do not like. And for me it does look a little bit makeup-y in some sections, but it is a really beautiful finish to look at from a distance. It just looks very dry, very matte, and I don't have any powder on at the moment, which is actually kind of cool because I would normally need to powder my skin because it does get quite oily. So I'm going to show you guys what this looks like in a couple of hours. I'm going to go to work and then I'm going to come back and do a checkup. So I've had this foundation on for 6.5 hours now. It's not looking too bad. It is quite shiny around my T-zone. And I definitely do have a glasses mark, so you can see that pretty clearly, but it's not too bad. I do find that it breaks up quite a bit on my nose, which is probably the most oiliest part of my face, and I do think that some patches of dry skin are a little bit more apparent at this time, but overall it's not bad considering I actually haven't powdered anything apart from my nose. You can definitely see that there is a patch that is rubbed off on the tip of my nose and on my chin as well. There is definitely a clear section there where I think I must have been leaning on it. There is a lot of creasing around my eyebrows and my forehead is looking a little bit oily too. So my makeup has been on for 10 hours now and this is what it looks like. I think that the foundation is actually looking better than it did in the previous check-in. I think because it's warm summer weather, my skin must have just been like sweaty rather than oily, because like it looks pretty good now, apart from the fact that the nose area still obviously hasn't got more foundation on it, and the wrinkles around my eyebrows are still pretty gross. But overall, from a distance, it's pretty good. I think for me the formula is just a little bit too matte and a little bit too drying to look that great on my skin, because I can obviously see that it has really good longevity for me because my skin isn't looking gross, and it's been 10 hours and it's been hot and humid because it has been raining. The parts where I've been touching my face, so obviously my chin, I have been doing this because that's what I do. Nose, I probably scratched it to be honest, or rubbed it, I'm not 100% sure. But it does cling to the dry patch in the center of my forehead, which I did notice when I put it on, and like in this one line, which I didn't realize was such a bad line for me, but I can see it. So overall, I'm happy with the longevity of this foundation. I think that it works really well. I just think that the initial formula probably isn't the best for my skin type in particular. For me personally, I'm still on the fence with this cushion foundation, and it's very annoying to me that it doesn't seem to work well every single time I use it, but it's also not awful. So for example, in the part that I filmed, it was kind of nice in the morning, it was a bit dry, and then midway through the day I looked like a hot oily mess, and then at the end of the day it looked fine again. I have never had that happen to me with this foundation before. However, it usually does look dry and it does last for a long time. So I'm wondering if in the middle of this recording I was just extra sweaty, because it's not the normal sort of finish. It does, however, usually get quite oily on my nose, but it was quite oily around the sides of my nose as well in that footage, which is a little bit different. I am wearing it today, but I'm wearing it with a very moisturized base underneath, and you can see me put this on in my Get Ready With Me, which is going to be next week's video, I'm pretty sure. And again, it reacts completely differently. So when it's used with a moisturizing base, it's a moisturized looking finish, so it does look glowy and dewy, which I really enjoy. However, there is a lot less coverage, so I can see lots and lots of freckles over the side of my face, which I don't mind, but it's completely different to how it would be if it was by itself. It gets very, very diluted if you use a base with it, it's quite strange. But it does look way nicer. So in between my forehead, where I had that really awful wrinkle yesterday, because that's when I filmed the other footage, and you cannot see the dry skin as much. I have had this on for 6 hours now, and it looks pretty good, but I haven't gone outside and run around today, so therein lies a little bit of a difference between yesterday's swatching and wear test versus today's. I've just been inside doing videos. So overall, there are some really good points about this cushion and some really bad points. The good points: it lasts for quite some time, and you don't really have to set it with powder unless you really want to, because it does dry down to a touch-proof finish, and I don't feel like adding a powder for me adds any more longevity. It has 8 colors to choose from. A lot of them are catered more towards the light skin tone rather than medium, and there are like no dark shades. The darkest shade is number 5 Sand, which is comparable to shade 23 in most Korean foundation ranges, which is not dark whatsoever. I would consider barely even medium, but if you have light skin tone, then you have a few options. It is easy to apply. I find that the cushion puff works best with this one, so it comes with everything you need, and it doesn't require a lot of time to figure out how to apply it nicely. And then there are the bad things. It lasts all day, apart from parts like my nose where it gets very oily, and if you touch your skin. So if I'm at work and I'm leaning on my chin, which I do 99% of the time, I will have a giant bald spot of foundation that won't be on my chin. It's not transfer proof in that sense. Yes, I could just stop touching my face, but will I? Probably not. And the application and results can vary depending on what your skin is doing on that day and what other products you use with it. If I use just my bare skin after I've used my sunscreen and skincare as normal, I find that I get a very matte base that emphasizes a lot of the dry texture on my skin, but it has really good coverage. If I use it with a moisturizing base, then I get a lot less coverage, but my skin looks a lot nicer. So it's a shame that I can't have nice looking moisturized skin and the coverage. It just doesn't seem to work that way, which is a shame. And the last point is that I don't feel like I can rely on it. Every time I wear it, it seems to be doing something different, which for me is the consistency isn't there, and I don't like that. I want a foundation that I can put on in the morning and I know that it works well with everything, and it's going to work well for the whole day, no exceptions, doesn't matter what I'm doing. This cushion foundation does not provide that for me. So I'm kind of still on the fence. I don't really hate this product, but it's not one that I gravitate towards. So what do you guys think? Should I keep this, or should I pass it along to someone else who may use it more? Bear in mind that I don't want to collect all of the foundations that I've ever used if they don't work for my skin, because my room is tiny. Like, most of the space is taken up by the bed. I don't have room to keep everything, so it has to be pretty good for me to keep it. What do you guys think? Let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching this review, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!